Hey, welcome to Write Your Story, guys. Here, Luke Keegan, Jack Nassif. We got a very, very special guest, one of my best friends in the whole world here today, guys, Michael Smoke, or Higher Up Wellness, as some of y'all may know him. What's up, Michael?
Thanks for having me. This is cool. I'm glad we got to do this. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited. I was just saying to Michael before we hopped in the car, I've been watching his content for like 2 years, and the same way he is on camera is the same way he is in person. You don't get that very often, bro. Absolutely, like, pleasure to see. It's crazy.
Thank you, man. I think that's a secret for many creators to be successful is to not show up to social media with a mask, but they feel like they have to, and we can certainly get into that today.
Yes. Authenticity.
Yeah,
Authenticity is, I heard it's something like 100 times more powerful than love on the frequency scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm totally one to believe in the energies. So that's huge, bro. Love the authenticity. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Thank you, brother. Jim Rohn said it's when it comes to communication, which is a huge pillar of social media, Jim Rohn, which was Tony Robbins' mentor, said communication is 80% what you say and 20% what you say and 80% how you feel about what you say. And I think if you're authentic and convicted, which you cannot be one without the other, in my opinion, you can't really fake conviction about a topic. If you are authentic, you will be convicted. If you'll be convicted, you can convince people of whatever it is that you're trying to spread in the form of your message.
And I think that goes so well with what me and Jack always say before a podcast. We always go, one of us will go like, bro, I'm so nervous. And then the other one of us will go, bro, let's just have a good time. Let's just have a good conversation, be authentic, and enjoy ourselves. And that's like the way it is. I love how you said it's not how you say it, the way you feel when you say it. That's it. Just the way you feel, like the vibes.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's how you started teaching people how to post, why to post. It's just when you feel convicted about something, pick up the phone, record, and post. Correct. I think that's the easiest way to go about your content journey when you're starting. At least that's how I started.
Yeah. Well, it's the simplest way for sure. It's the straightest line from desired outcome or from current state to desired outcome, which is when you get a thought, and we all have this, I tell people this all the time, we all have that little piece of internal dialogue that runs within us all day. And the only filter I place between me and the dialogue is now I realize as I started to make videos following that dialogue, that conviction of why are things that way? We have things like that pop into our head all day. Why is that way? Or you know what really irks me or pisses me off or really invokes curiosity within me? Instead of just saying, well, anyway, and then getting on with my day or talking to myself, which I would very often do, probably got that from my father, is that now my filter is, oh, there's the dialogue, let me pick up the phone. And it's how some of my greatest performing videos have come to light is just following the conviction. Like the one that really performed well, albeit maybe to my detriment, was the shopping cart video. I said that if you can't return your shopping cart, you're probably a piece of shit. And I said it was the litmus test for good character, of a good person. And it cranked on social media. But in the moment, I saw somebody not return their cart. I got kind of pissed off about it. And before content, I would have just got on about my day. But I said, this is a great idea for a video. And when you pull the veil and relieve yourself of the idea to have to figure out content and just realize that everything you endure, everything you encounter, every thought you have could potentially make someone learn something, laugh from something, or impact them in a positive way, then it becomes a lot easier to flow from a place of creativity.
Awesome.
I love that so much.
I love the content journey, love the stories. I know I've heard plenty of them. We all see it. Can we take a step back and kind of get back to the purpose of what we have done here with Write Your Story and just go back to the beginning of Michael Smoke? Really just give us your story, really a testimony on how you came about in your content journey and your professional journey and where you are now. Where do we start? And what was the journey to get to where you are now?
Yeah, man, it was all born purely out of obsession. I see now, in scripture it says you don't know what I'm doing now, but soon you will understand, right? I look back so clearly on my life and I understand why I had to endure or go through everything that I've been through to get here. And content was born, and the message and the conviction and the idea and mission has changed a little bit over the last 2 years. But the slogan started, it was the first thing I ever wrote in my bio. It was sharing easily implementable ways to improve your life. That was the mission. And it was really more for me than for anybody else at first, because I had this thing, this idea, this passion that I was so in love with, which was, holy shit, when I take care of myself, I show up differently in the world. People treat me differently. I'm getting better opportunities. I have a different self-image because I struggled with self-image my whole life. From basically as young as I can remember, I was the chunky kid, the overweight kid, and I was made fun of for that. And somewhat insignificant now, or people try to write off like middle school and early life bullying. But when you're developing at those ages, that stuff's super impactful. And so my self-image and self-talk was frankly, it was very deprecating. And I got to a point in my physical health where I decided enough was enough. I tell the story all the time. I overheard a friend from the other room say, "Damn, Smoke is getting really big." And he didn't know I was there. And I thank him for that, because the truth will set you free, but it'll first probably really piss you off. And it did. And that friend was Luke. You know Luke. And yeah, it was Wit. Yeah. And he knows that I talk about that on podcasts all the time, so he's going to love this. But it empowered me to figure my shit out and get it together. And so first it became about physical health. And when I got physically fit and physically healthy, I got a little bit better. And then I realized it was deeper than that. There were parts of me that still needed to be worked on and I needed to be aware of, that felt inadequate or not enough, if you will. And that concept of the self-work sort of came into the realm. But I'll close the loop by saying this. It was born out of an obsession that I didn't have anyone to share with. I loved the depths of physical fitness. I loved the neurobiology behind physical fitness. Hot exposure, cold exposure, fasting, training, running. It fascinated me. And I had no one to really share it with to the degree that I was interested. Like, not everybody wants to hear about how the anterior mid-cingulate cortex grows when you do challenging things. Some people do. So I picked up the phone after months of agony and said, I need a cathartic release. I need a place to express my passion to the world. And if anybody wants to listen, great. If not, I don't care, because this is me just getting it out. And I think God was pulling me in that direction now, because it blew up very, very quickly. Like, I started creating in March of 2023, and in July of 2023, I quit corporate America and went full time on it, and I've been that way ever since.
Congrats.
Thanks, man.
Amazing.
I appreciate it.
When you first started out in content, I think we all kind of come up to this barrier, this challenge of what people say, fear of what other people might say, especially not even the stranger, but your closest friend. What are they going to say? How'd you overcome that obstacle? How'd you deal with it? What was your experience like?
This is important. This is the number one fear that I think holds everybody back. I think this is universal. And I think the reason the people you see that beat this fear, and don't even really beat it, but just live in the tension of being in it and knowing they're being perceived, are the people that are successful. It's you guys. Like, you're being perceived. You see it in the comments, positively and negatively. I think this is the number one fear that holds people back from getting everything they ever wanted. It is the fear of perception. Everyone is afraid to be perceived, because deep down, in my opinion, they're worried that if they're perceived in the way that they're truly afraid of, it will confirm the narrative that they have in their spirit deep down that they already think is true. By the way, it's not. But I had a deep, deep inadequacy wound. I thought I wasn't enough. Thought I wasn't good enough, cool enough, smart enough, funny enough. Just through my life experiences, I had built this story about myself that I let be true. And so before content, there was a 4-month period where I thought about making content. And I just agonized over it and thought about it and had the fear of perception just ruining me. And the thing that got me over the hump was understanding pain. So pain is the driver of change. And you will not change until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of changing, because both are uncomfortable. Learning a new skill, doing a new thing, it's uncomfortable because you're not good at it. And that's inherently painful. I'd use the term pain broadly. But for some people, staying the same is painful, but not painful enough to switch. It's sort of like the overweight person who just can't get it right. They haven't encountered enough pain to really endure a long-term change to get physically healthy. And this desire was so heavily weighing on my heart that I finally just said, fuck it. I'm going to just put the video out. And if it sucks, nobody sees it. And if it's great, everybody sees it, and it changes my life forever. And the latter happened. And it changed my entire life. So I think I'll tell anyone that's really struggling with the fear of perception this. There's a great quote. The ocean of fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And when I actually stepped into the tension of being perceived, which there is a visceral tension between us and the thing or place that we want to be or go or do, that gap in between is tension. When you step into the tension of the fears that you face, you can have everything you've ever wanted. Like my coach Kian says, there can be no ascension without tension. Basically, any level that you want to increase within in your life is going to require you to step into a fear. Yeah. And so I just accepted, I'm going to be scared, but I have to do it anyway, because this is the life I want, and I want it far more than I want to stay where I am.
Yeah. We were just talking about that too, fear and the feelings you get with fear. You can treat them differently just by using a different word to explain it, right? What did we say yesterday? Terrifying can be replaced with exhilarating. Yes. Very similar words. but one has more of a hopeful aspect to it as opposed to a I'm going to die, like getting eaten by a lion, terrifying. Jumping out of a plane to skydive, exhilarating. Same word, switch it up. Well, Michael, going back again, you talk about perception and how people are scared to be perceived and how you overcame that. You talked about your story of wanting to post because you were super, super interested in the topics. You wanted to share it with somebody. Now, I see a lot of posting about your faith. I see a hat you're wearing that says pray. At what point did faith come into play, and how has that helped you find your purpose in life?
18 months ago, roughly. We'll call it 2 years. I think it's been 2 years now.
Because when I first started watching you, I didn't see the faith aspects being posted.
Yeah, I didn't have it.
No, and I've been blessed to become one of your great friends here in Atlanta, Georgia. We talk about our faith all the time.
Correct.
The Michael I know is a Michael that's connected to his faith. The Michael I saw online before, though, he was posting just fitness content. Mm-hmm. Where'd that switch happen and why?
Yeah, probably around March or April of 2024. So what's that? It's about 18 months. Yeah, call it a year and a half ago. I was little did I know, was stepping into the hardest season of my life. Was in a long-term relationship, lived together, blew that up. I ended it. It was tough. Like, even though I ended it, it was uprooting the only life I had known sort of in my adult life, really. And I'm far removed from that. I'm grateful for the lessons it taught me, but at the time it was very hard. It was like totally rewiring my sense of familiarity. And I moved home because I thought, well, let me regroup. Time to move home, spend some time with the parents. That'll be great. And figure out where I want to live next, which at first was Tampa. And I blow up my whole life as I know it as an adult. I get home, and I haven't seen my dad in a month at this point, and he looks worse off than the last time I saw him, noticeably so. Thinner, weaker, just less vigor in his body. And I remember asking him, like, what's wrong with you? It's been a month. What's up? Like, I haven't been home or been away for 6 months. And he just said, I don't know, man. I feel like shit. I think I'm sick. And little did I know that would transpire into the hardest 7 months of my life. So part of me is now knowing that God put me there very intentionally, because I was about to uproot my life in a different way and move to the coast of Georgia with the girl I was with at the time. And I know that if I would have done that, I wouldn't have been home for my sick father. I would have been 250 miles away dealing with my dad, who would ultimately go to get very ill, terminally ill. And over that 6 month span, my mom and I would become his full-time caretakers and ultimately his hospice nurses until he passed away January of this year. And it was the worst thing I have ever been through. No doubt, without a doubt. But it taught me so much because he and I had such a special relationship. Like, we would joke that there's only two people on the earth that speak our language, and when one goes, the other one's going to have some serious shit to figure out. I mean, he was truly 10 feet tall, bulletproof, my hero, my idol. And I'm grateful for the time that we had. I hold no anger or malice about his death. But the things that I had to endure were, at times, frankly, they were traumatic. Caring for someone that is dying. You know, everybody knows we're going to die one day, and everybody knows that death exists, though it's a little bit taboo. But people don't talk about the fact that it's rarely the situation where people just go to sleep and don't wake up. Oftentimes, death is suffering. It is painful. It is ugly. It is shameful to the person enduring it. And though you don't feel that for them, having to watch someone that I looked up to and cared for so much, that once cared for me, and have to turn around and do the same thing for him, I'm grateful God put me there. But it was really hard. And that paired, the blowing up of my personal life, paired with being my dad's caretaker, doctor's appointments, medications, getting to the point in his life where I was bathing him and feeding him, broke me. Like, it truly broke my spirit. And it was this weird tension of my career exploding, millions of followers. I have all this worldly success, and I have this career that feels like it's refining me, and I have this purpose that I feel like God's calling me towards. And then I just have this thing at home. I just have my dad wanting to get better and wondering why, like, God's not making him better. And the tension between those two things was where my suffering existed. And I realized part of my suffering was so deeply rooted in my desire to control the outcome, which I had been so vehement about for my whole life. And I was just placing that onto him. More doctor's appointments, more arguments with doctors, more medications, lifestyle intervention. But in reality, all of that wrestling was just making my spirit so tired. And I had this moment, this breaking point where I was just in so much pain. I said in my car, I get it. I'm done. Take it. It's yours. I just gave it to Christ. And I didn't know what the supernatural peace that they talked about was. I've heard that. Like, how are you so calm? How are you so well adjusted? But I felt that in the moment. Like, I fully stepped into a place of trust that no matter what shook out with my old man, it was going to be a part of my purpose for my life. And Gabriel, one of our mutual friends, said something to me that I'll never forget that really triggered this thought of surrendering. And he said on a call, what if your dad dying is part of God's will for your life? That is not an easy pill to swallow. Like, what I wanted to say was, fuck you, how dare you? Like, you can't say that to me. That's not fair. My dad is sick. But the piece of scripture that I now reference all the time, James 1:2-4 says, count it all joy when you face trials of many kind, because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance run its course so that you may be complete and lacking nothing. In a similar parallel, Louis Giglio, the pastor at Passion Church, gave a seminar at Passion last year, the only one that I saw when I went. The topic was all things for the glorification of God. Even the worst thing you've ever been through. And he takes a story about his friend who is a very successful pastor with a very prominent church. His daughter passed away tragically from an asthma attack at 6. And he opens the conversation with that. How do you turn around and glorify God with that? That's a tragedy. He goes on to tell the incredible story of this family and what they've been able to do and who they've been able to help and empower through their pain, through their trials. And I've taken the relationship I had with my father and the things I had to do for him and with him and ultimately his passing. And I've helped so many people understand that they can get through suffering, that they can feel grief, that they can move through these emotions. And actually surrendering to that experience breeds a control and a clarity and a mission on the other side of it. And I see now, because thousands of people have reached out and thanked me, the other thing that I do is mention how God pulled me through that. Supernatural peace pulled me through that. Fellowship pulled me through that and gave me a perspective that I couldn't have had if I was purely in the world. And I understand it more deeply now. And I now use that to glorify God. I thank him for pulling me through that. I thank him for giving me the strength to get up in front of 400 people and give my father's eulogy. That was supposed to be the worst day of my life. And I did it. I got through it because I prayed my ass off. And ultimately, I say all this to say that surrendering to life, emotion, and Christ brings a freedom that cannot be explained. It can only be felt. Like my grandpa used to say, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. And so my faith came as a byproduct of the deepest form of suffering I've ever endured. And I didn't think that could be possible. And people sometimes still think I'm crazy when I say that. And I said, that's okay. Like, I understand how crazy this could sound, because if you told me 2 years ago that I'd be sitting in a podcast room talking about God and Jesus and my dad's death, I would have laughed you out of a room. That all sounds ridiculous. So sometimes I'm as surprised as they are when I say these things, but it changed my life. Fully staying in that surrendered state and having full trust in him to pull me through that and use the worst thing I've ever been through to help other people is actually the ultimate source of fulfillment. And that's what that has given me. So that's how I came to it, is through, frankly, the worst 18 months of my life. Lighter topic, perhaps, next?
That was powerful. Yeah, first off, sorry for your loss. And
Thank you.
I really appreciate hearing you say that, because it's something that a lot of people struggle with going through hard seasons, and to hear something like that that's really powerful and really vulnerable, it just goes to show that we're not alone in this. And it's just, I can't say much more than that. We're not alone in this, and to hear that is so powerful. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
And I think a lot of people on the other side of this camera can appreciate that as well. People who are going through hard seasons. Is there anything you would want to say, specifically to somebody on the other side of the camera who's going through a really tragic, hard season right now? Any advice that you would give them just quickly to help them out of it, help them kind of move through it and the way you did and come out better on the other end?
Yeah, I talk a lot about floor habits, having your floors, having the things you can stick with. Outside of building a relationship with God, reading the Word, it gives you an understanding of the world you can't get from anywhere else. So Gabriel calls it the ultimate self-help book. Outside of reading that and being with strong people that can really support you and pull you through the shit that life is going to throw at you, because it will throw shit at you, I promise. Man plans, God laughs. And that's outside of the obvious things. I really want to encourage people, and this is where the self-development and faith sphere mix. Sometimes the only thing that kept me sane and pulled me out of the situation I was in was the floor habits I have in my day. So to quickly explain the floors, I teach my clients, the people I work with, the content I make. Everybody reaches for ceilings in this world. 75 hard, New Year's resolutions, 1 million followers, these big lofty goals, and those are great. But a lot of people are going from 0 to 100 and then wondering why they can't maintain the pace. So I say, instead of ceiling habits, in a society that romanticizes grand gesture and minimizes small impacts, small daily decisions, stop the ceilings. Let's find floor habits. What are the baseline consistencies that you can maintain no matter what life throws at you? And on the physical side, for me, it was training. It was walking. It was eating well. Sometimes the only part of my day I had that was for me and pulled me out of my head and into my body was hard physical training. It was about so much more than getting fit. It was about taking my suffering that was happening inside of my mind away. Because when you've got a heavy barbell on your back, or you're in a dead sprint on a track redlining, you're not thinking about anything else other than getting through that moment. And that is, in a way, meditation. That's true presence. Like, that's the power of now and being in the moment. And the thing that everybody strives for is happiness and peace that only exists right where we are, because anxiety is nervous anticipation of the future, and depression is rumination on an unpleasant past. So the only place that we find peace is in the present moment. And for me, it was physical training in that meditative aspect. It was also taking care of my body. I knew if I ate well, I trained hard, I slept enough, though sometimes that wasn't an option. I knew if I could prepare physically, I would show up better for my mom and my dad mentally, and I would be generally more endurable, or have a higher level of endurance, if you will. I think the physical, the mental, and the spiritual are all intertwined deeply, and the more I trained, the more I did hard things every single day to show up for myself, the more I was able to handle the stress in my life. Andrew Huberman has this great quote. He says, "We should do self-elected hard things so that when life's non-elected challenges arise," and they will, we can say, "I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I know that I can do hard things." So the nervous system doesn't understand whether the stress is coming from bills being late, rent being due, your wife or girlfriend being angry at you, or a sick or dying family member. The nervous system recognizes stress or no stress, sympathetic or parasympathetic. And when we do things like train hard, cold exposure, heat exposure, pushing ourselves, we change our body and nervous system's relationship to stress. And so I believe the years of training hard and pushing my body and doing the ice bath and doing all the shit I never wanted to do, but I did anyway, I believe my nervous system was more calibrated to handle the extreme stress that living with and caring for a dying parent brought me for 7 months. I think I would have been way worse off without that. So that's a long-winded way to say, pick 3 to 5 ways that you can show up for yourself every single day. No matter what, you have to pick the floor that you know, no matter what life throws at me, I can hit the gym this many times per week. I can eat 80% whole foods. I'll just give you mine. Maybe give people a frame of reference. My floors, 3 workouts a week, 60 minutes. 60 minutes of walking every day, and 80 to 90% whole natural foods. Whole natural meaning if it grew in the ground, grew on a tree, or had a mom and dad, I eat it. If I can maintain those 3 physical floors, my life is better. And I know now, because I endured the worst thing I've ever been through in my life and was still able to stay compliant, I know that those are systems that are built to endure. So people need to find their floors, their systems that allow them. It's not about being fit. It's not even about being healthy. You got to have things that are for you and you alone, like training, eating well, moving when you don't feel like it. That's for you. That's for you showing up for yourself. And that's the ultimate form of self-respect. You know, Mark Manson says in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, the person that you spend the most time with is yourself. Try not to lose that person's respect. And I build my habits in my life off of that frame of mind. So that's the advice I would give somebody.
And I like that, because you hang with yourself and you always talk about how when you do something, when you complete an action, you're either one of 2 votes. A vote for the person you are talking about, the person you think you are, the person you want to become, or you're doing an action that's going to put a vote in the opposite bucket. Bingo. Lying about who you are. Can you talk more about that? You say that all the time.
Yeah. James Clear quote, "Every action is casting a vote for the person you wish to become." It's from his book Atomic Habits. I'm a big aphorisms guy. I love a punchy quote that has a broader meaning for life, and they just tattoo in my mind. Yeah, that is true, and it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate or uncomfortable truth for some people to embrace, but every action you take is casting a vote for the person you wish to become. Every single one. Like, if you can really step into that, you realize how important the decisions that we make every single day are. Like, I think everybody is 5 or 6 key decisions away every single day from living a totally different life in 6 months. And it's the decision to doom scroll when you know you need to get up and do your laundry. It's the decision to eat out and have drinks when you could opt this time, not all the time, I'm about balance, to eat in or skip the booze or get the salad instead of the burger. Let's not talk about what we ate at Park Tavern yesterday, different conversation. That was my 20%. But it's those little decisions, because every time we all have this identity about ourselves, whether it's conscious or subconscious. And I've brought mine to the conscious. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? And now that I'm aware, I encourage people to do that. Literally write down the person they want to become. The I am statements. I am successful. I am conscientious. I am kind. I am wealthy. Get as specific as you can. And now you know what you're aiming at. And then write where you're at now. I am someone who skips the gym. I am someone who is inconsistent. This is your lower timeline self. This is my friend Nick's exercise he puts his clients through. Get very clear on your lower timeline self, and then your higher timeline self. That's what he calls it. The I am now and the I am I wish to be. So for Nick, it was the $10 million CEO. That's his next step in business. And he writes down all of his traits and behavior that exist in the current timeline or the higher timeline, and then everything that's in the current timeline, good and bad. And so now you have this awareness. Like everything in life, it's about raising your level of awareness. And every time you have an action or a decision that falls in that lower timeline, you can go up, wrong room, time to snap back into this other self that I said I was going to be. But it is unfortunate that like every decision we make, when I catch myself doom scrolling, and I do, people seem to think I'm some ostentatiously locked in person. I fuck around a lot. And I'll blink sometimes and go, oh my God, I've been on Instagram Reels for 2 hours. What am I doing? But because I know what I'm aiming at versus where I am, I can immediately go, wrong room, time to snap back in, go for the walk, do push-ups. You know, Tony Robbins has this very simple but punchy quote, if you want to change your state, change your state. So if you want to change where you're at, change your physical body, like neuro and physiobiology. So if I'm doing something like that, I go, 10 push-ups or 10 squats, something to just pull me out of mind into body. And so that's the importance, man. Everything, no matter how big or small, has some sort of weight on your unconscious mind. And if you're making the decision to skip the gym, to eat like shit, to stay up too late, all things I struggle with and you guys struggle with, just know that you're putting tallies in that box that affirms the identity you swear you don't want to associate with anymore. And when you assign add that weight to every decision and you're just judicious about it, or just, I should say, and objective, you tend to make better decisions.
I think I found my most success or my most progress in life once I became more self-aware. And it's a tough pill to swallow.
Kind of a curse sometimes.
It is. It is. But a blessing too. If you know where you're lacking, you know where you're successful at, it can really help change your life. So I think becoming aware and writing that down, that's strong. Hard to do though, to be able to tell I am really bad at, whatever it may be. Right here, I can't even think of something I'm self-aware of because it's tough.
You should probably do this exercise when you get home.
Probably should. And writing it down helps.
Yeah, 2 of the most powerful words in the world are I am. I am. God said that to Moses in the Bible, right? It's a very significant word. And when you say I am, you are, whether you realize it or not, subconsciously confirming an identity about yourself. And affirmations are important. I think they have a place, but you need evidence to back that up. And so once you build out your new I ams, you then need to create the behaviors and the systems and the floors to support with evidence the narrative or identity you're trying to build about yourself.
So it's not a fake it till you make it. It's take the action and become that person.
Correct. It's build the apartment, build the dream room that is your new life, and then figure out the systems that are so bulletproof that achieving that new goal or new identity is a side effect. It's a byproduct. James Clear also says in his book, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. Because you can say you have all these aspirations, you can say you want to be one of the biggest content creators in the world, but if you post 3 times a week, your system is not going to get you there. You can say you want to be in the best shape of your life, but if you're skipping your workouts 30, 40% of the time, you're never going to get there. So your actions do not line up with your identity. Your evidence does not stack up with the confidence you say that you want to have. Confidence is evidence-based.
I have a quick question for you, and this is something that Luke and I can attest to. Part of who you are now, how big of a role did the people around you play? Because I know Luke was at U Miami, right? College, got a lot of drinking, a lot of lustful thoughts, girls, partying. I was in school suffering the same things, on the basketball team trying to fit into a culture and a profile that I thought was going to make me cool. Turns out we were both in situations and around people that were just dragging us down.
Yeah.
Did you have a significant person or a group of folks that helped pull you out? And how did you find that? What could you tell other people about getting out of a situation that might be holding them back from who they really are?
Yeah, Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. That's true. And there probably might be people who aren't religious listening to this. That's fine, but let's make it secular. You are the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's
You
one
could
of the
say
most
the
famous
verse,
quotes in the world.
you could say that verse, though, without even mentioning the book,
Correct.
and it would hit the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to say Proverbs 27:17 and people be like, that's a bar. Because it's true. You are the company that you keep. And if you hang around with lustful people or people who love to party or drink or people that don't take care of themselves, we're energetic beings. Like we literally on an EMF scan emit an electrical and energetic field. I'm gonna get kind of woo-woo here, but like if they have a low energy, they have a lethargic energy, they are in anxiety or self-pity or self-deprecation or projection, one of my least favorite forms, then you are going to take on some of that person's energy. So I'm always trying to be around people, as cliche as it sounds, who are better than me or who I aspire to. Like Gabriel is someone I look up to greatly in my faith. And our Bible study crew, I look up to all of those guys in my faith. I have people in my life that I look up to from a fitness standpoint. That I'm like, you're better than me, you're faster than me, you're stronger than me. I like to be around you. Like some of these guys I've been training with at Carbon, they're strong as fucking oxes, but it makes me go harder. It makes me do more. And so in terms of how did I find that or what did I look for, the run club was life-changing for me. Shout out Run Easy ATL and Colin Beecham for putting together the biggest and best run club in the city. Yes, the biggest and the best in the city. No contest. Because he very intentionally curated an environment. And so this is where the advice comes in. If you want to find a different group of people, you have to intentionally place yourself in an environment where those people might be. If you want to get more devout in your faith, go to church, dummy. That's not hard. Look up a Bible study. Put yourself outside of your comfort zone and message somebody who you know because you've seen them post on social media is devout in their faith and say, hey, can I be a part of this? They'll say yes. In terms of the physical fitness side or like-minded people side, coming to that run club, I met my entire friend group I have now, actually. With the exception of maybe 4 or 5 people, everybody I spend 80% of my personal time with or relational time with, I met at Run Easy, which is kind of crazy. But those are people, and this is where I go back to Colin's intentionality of curating the environment. I asked him this once, and he told me, the run club, for those of you who don't know, starts Thursday morning at 6 a.m. So it's not a weekend. It is a weekday.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. It is not a comfortable hour. 7:30 would be different. Saturday morning would be different. Midweek, early as hell. And he said, it's not that we want to push anybody away, but he knew Thursdays at 6 a.m. would attract a certain caliber of human being. Because for most people, you got to wake up at 5 if you want to get hydrated, get your mind and nervous system rolling, and get to run club on time. So you're not waking up at 6, you're waking up at 5. And then now, I think last Thursday, there was like probably 100 people there. I wasn't there.
And it was like 15 degrees.
It was freezing cold, pitch-ass dark, and the energy is insane. And it's just, it's another one of those cliches, but like the type of person who's going to show up to that is just probably an above average human being. And so for people looking for that, you have to place yourself in an environment where those people might exist. And it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. It might require you to DM somebody and ask to maybe sort of invite yourself to something. It might require you to show up to a place alone where you don't know anybody and make friends. All things that our generation, frankly, is very bad at. But everything you want in life is on the other side of discomfort. There could be no ascension without tension. The tension of discomfort, the tension of fear of perception, the tension of physical stress, like everything you want is on the other side of that tension. So that's what I would say.
It's exactly how I made my friends here in Atlanta.
Yeah, you're good at that.
My first week after I moved to Atlanta, I got a DM from my buddy Dominic Perone. Shout out Dom. And he said, hey, dude, there's a run club on Thursday at 6 a.m. up by the Chattahoochee River if you want to come. I looked at that DM, and I had been invited to bars, to restaurants, to different events, but you hear 6 a.m. run club, you're like, what in the hell are these people doing? Right. I had never even been to a run club ever. at this point in my life. Really? No, dude, I played basketball in college. I thought running was for shrinks. Like, I thought running was the lamest thing ever. But someone says 6 a.m. by a river, run club, it's going to be awesome. I'm like, all right, I'll go. He texts the group me for me. He says, hey, there's a kid in Old Fourth Ward that needs a ride to run club. Can someone pick him up? He texts me. He's like, yo, this girl's going to pick you up. I'm like, okay. Comes, picks me up. We drive 30 minutes north. I pull up, and you got like 75 people out there, maybe 100, at 5:30 in the morning, just sitting around talking. Music's playing. It's pitch black. And here I am a year and a half later, preaching exactly what you just said about how awesome that is and how much it changed me and how it got me in that environment that has elevated my life to where it is now. I don't think it happens without Run Easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I don't believe the Lord can bless idle hands. I think He has a will for your life. He wants you to be happy. He wants us to prosper, but you have to put yourself in positions to do so. You know, I met throughout some of my suffering and the stuff I went through with my dad, there's a couple people that come to mind that I literally felt were earthbound angels, but they came at me putting myself in situations that were uncomfortable, like participating in the world record mile attempt. I met amazing people that day that changed my life. I did something life-changing. We're world record holders. We don't talk about that enough, but we literally broke a Guinness World Record last July, and we still hold the world record. It's sick.
What is it?
We ran and Colin Beecham coordinated this too, because he's literally got an incredible God-given gift to connect people and do cool stuff. Last year, Colin got in touch with Guinness World Records, literal Guinness. We're in the book, and decided he wanted to run the fastest ever 100-mile relay race. 100-person 100-mile relay race. So everybody ran 1 mile, and we passed a baton 100 times. And we had to do all this crazy stuff. We had to get a land surveyor out to make sure the distance was right. We had to film the footage for 8 hours. I could go on about how much work Colin had to do to pull this off. It was unreal. But we ran 100 miles in 8 hours and 34 minutes, smashed the world record, and no one's even come close to trying since. That was last July.
Tyler Swartz is trying to.
He won't do it. Sorry, Tyler. Love you. It ain't even that you can't field the athletes. It's just wait till you see what it's like to deal with Guinness and put together an event like that. Holy moly. I'm actually confident if he could deal with that, he could get faster runners than us, because I ran in it. And
you ran what was it, 5:04?
5:08. But I was still 60th out of 100. That's how fast some of these people were. And putting myself in that uncomfortable position, I have never done speed work. I've never run like that, 200, 400 meter repeats. And I set the goal for a 5:15 mile. That scares me. That's uncomfortable. That is tension. That was my Masogi, which maybe we can talk about later, big annual hard challenge. And I did it. I signed up for the thing. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And then I went out and did it anyway. I trained and prepared. Like Jim Quick says, proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's like an easy alliteration to help you remember. Trained my ass off, went out there, crushed my time, and met some really influential, important people that I think God placed in my life as a result of me putting myself in a little bit of uncomfortable positions and trusting Him. And I'm so thankful for those people. I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful for myself for doing that. So that's what I would say. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. You did that. You're very good at that now. And then the more you do that, it sort of becomes like a callus, like a skill. Then you start seeing, like, how many ways can I make myself uncomfortable to grow? It becomes addictive.
So I have a question for me that's been kind of like toying with me. So I'm 19 years old. Obviously, I went to Miami last year.
That's crazy, dude. I thought you were older than that.
Went to Miami last year.
You're 19? Are you
19
fucking with
years
me?
old, yeah. I mean, I look like, a lot of people tell me I look like 16, 17.
Yeah, I just assumed you were like closer to our age.
Woman at church.
These are the people you're inspiring, dude, right here.
Yeah.
Scary.
Look what you're creating.
Yeah. The woman at church a couple weeks ago asked me if I was in the high school youth group or whatever it was. I was like, no. I'm
Hey, look, it's better than the dude you're doing a podcast with looking at you before you start and saying you look 38.
Yeah.
I'll take 16 over 38.
54 years old.
That's how I got all this wisdom, bro. I'm unk.
No, but an important question for me. I'm 19 years old. I think a lot of, because me and Jack's demographic, we kind of hit the same. So I think a lot of people watching this could relate to this question.
Sure.
I'm 19 years old. I found what I think is my purpose in life, my calling. I left Miami last year. Obviously, went all in on my goals at Miami. Then I left Miami to chase them even further. I'm on online college doing biobehavioral health. I'm hitting milestones, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. But every time I hit it, it doesn't feel the way it should. It seems like every step I take towards success, it takes one step away, and therefore it's always on the horizon. So my question to you is two question. What does success look like to you? How do you quantify it? And more specifically, what is the most fulfilling thing that you've ever done?
What do you mean when you said it doesn't feel like it should?
If you told me 1 year ago, December 15th, I was probably at 2,500 followers, been grinding now for about 6 months, that I'd be at 300,000 followers in 1 year, chasing my dream, like I'm literally just all in on this.
Yeah.
The exact way I envisioned it and manifested it, I would have like fell down crying euphorically.
Mm-hmm.
Now when I hit it, it's like, all right, like, but I gotta do, X, Y, and Z. I gotta make sure I'm making X amount a month. I'm getting to this milestone next. It doesn't even faze me when I hit it. And it's so like, it's everything I ever dreamed of, but when I get it, it doesn't feel the way it should. So like, therefore, as somebody who's a lot further ahead of me, how have you dealt with this and found something that you would call success in your own life and that's truly fulfilling to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to challenge something you did there twice, which is you said the word should. I want you to be very intentional about the words that you use, both of you, anybody listening, when you talk about yourself, your goals, your aspirations, where you're headed, what you don't like. Be intentional. Words breed a lot of power. Scripture says life and death is in the tongue, and that has a lot of meaning. So I'm very intentional about my words and what they mean to me. So you say, I don't feel like it should. Well, what does should mean? Should is based on your perception, and your perception is your reality. It didn't feel how you thought it would feel. That doesn't mean it feels wrong. So, one, this is a beautiful lesson to realize that things of the world will never bring you true success or true fulfillment. Serving God, honoring God, and serving others is the ultimate source of fulfillment. I struggled with this too. Every landmark or milestone, rather, I found myself just chasing another one. And then at a point, it was like, I'm just moving the goalpost. I'm not actually able to sit in my success. I remember exactly where I was. I was in Yepa, Buckhead. I said I wanted to hit 1 million followers on TikTok before January 1st, 2025. I literally was in Yepa, Buckhead on New Year's Eve, December 31st. I hit 1 million followers. I didn't give a shit. I didn't care. I was like, this doesn't feel any different than it did when I had 999,000 or 400,000 for that matter. And now I'm at 2 million. It doesn't feel any different. So the two things that I learned, number one, it didn't feel any different because I wasn't allowing it to feel any different. And in my mind, there's this great quote, success is hard for me to celebrate because in my mind, it was my obligation to achieve the success. That's not healthy. That's not good. So step one, just giving you some practical advice and like coaching you through this, it's important to actually say out loud and acknowledge that what you're doing is exceedingly, incredibly rare and special. You've been given a gift. And it's a beautiful gift. And it's okay to say like, fuck yeah, I'm proud of myself. Like actually say the words. Like Tony Robbins is big on saying the thing you want to be. When you say it, you can invoke a positive physical state. So out loud be like, fuck yeah, I'm proud of myself. Say it right now.
Fuck yeah, I'm proud of myself. And actually that brings me back to one point I was in Puerto Rico. I had 100,000 followers. I wrote it down every day in this journal I had that my mom got me. That I want to hit 100,000 followers. I want to be traveling the world, and I want inspiring others to be my full-time job. And I was in Puerto Rico, and that was what I manifested and what I was achieving. And at that point, I think I shed a tear at that point. But now it's just not feeling the way that I thought it would before.
Yeah.
Now that I'm hitting new milestones.
Yeah.
But at that one milestone, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, because like what's the difference between 100 and 200? It's like it's the same dopamine hit. And so I want to encourage you to, at milestones, say out loud, I am proud of myself as many times a day as you can, because I think a lot of what drives high performers is actually a deep sense of inadequacy or insecurity. Yeah. Some people can't admit it. I can. I got cut from a sports team when I was in high school after being built up to be like the shit as an athlete. I had this identity about who I thought I was. Yeah. And what are you looking at me like that for?
I haven't seen you do much athletic stuff.
Well, I used to play baseball and football. And I was built up to be like this good baseball player. Yes. And I just got cut. And the coach was like, you're not good enough. Sorry. They either said that to me. He was like, you're not good enough to play with us. And that cracked my identity because my identity was rooted in this sport, which was silly. And it was a great lesson for me. But I let that dude's voice and what he said about me shape how I did everything from then on out. I couldn't just have to anything. I had to go all in because I just wanted to be enough. And so remember and try to be very clear and honest with yourself about why you're chasing the things that you're chasing. Because it used to be I wanted to chase these things so that like I could be enough. I could be the big dog. I could be the guy. I could finally prove to myself that I was worthy.
Yeah.
And understanding and getting to know Christ and understanding what my identity is in him and understanding that those narratives that I let be true about myself aren't true were super powerful. So the practical advice I'll give you is this. Say I'm proud of myself as often as you can out loud. It changes your state when you do that. Talk to yourself. Affirm yourself. Understand that we're not here to do anything but serve God and serve others. My metric for success is no longer a following. It's fun to set those goals. Like I have a milestone. I want to hit 1 million on Instagram right now, and I'm chasing it. It's going to be fun, but I know it's going to breed me nothing. I'll be like, yeah, I did it. Cool.
Yeah.
Celebrate for 5 minutes, go to dinner, be cool, be happy about it, and then move on.
Seeing the M does it.
Yeah, I want to see the M.
Yeah, when I hit the K for 10K,
Yeah,
I was on the beach in the Bahamas with my 2 boys, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, because it's cool.
I got
It's
the
super
K.
cool.
I got the K.
There's like a credibility that comes with that.
But it was the people around me too that made it. That were
Yeah.
like, bro, I knew you could do this. Because I had one friend that was really motivating to me at Miami when I was at like 2,000 followers. He's like, bro, you're going to be at 100,000 followers one day. Like, you just got to believe it.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
I was like struggling to put my phone up in the gym. And he's like, bro, you got to own this,
Would
bro.
you care if you had 100K to put your phone up in the gym?
Yes, bro. It would be like honest, but no, kind of no. It's
Yeah.
like I still have to tell myself. It's like, bro, like doesn't matter. Like I got like 300K on Instagram. I'm just gonna put my tripod
Exactly.
up.
He said I am.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
dude Michael still struggles to put his phone up in
Yeah.
public.
Yes.
And I got to remember, like, I literally do this for work. I'm being an idiot. No one cares about me.
Yeah.
No one cares about what I'm doing right now.
And that I am thing is so powerful because Jack texted me the other day. I schooled him on this, and then you schooled me on it. He was like, bro, I need to. And whatever that was followed by, I was like, you know what I've done recently is saying, I'm ready. I am ready to get in the gym. I'm ready to be healthy.
That's
I
good.
need to get healthy. I'm ready to get healthy. It changes the whole
like that a
perspective,
lot,
the
yeah.
whole frame.
Yeah, you don't have to. You get to. It's obligation versus opportunity.
Yes. Yeah, it changes the whole perspective of things. Perspective is everything. So I think, yeah, that the mental framework is huge for quantifying success to yourself.
Yeah, man. I'll close the loop on that question. I'll say you're proud of yourself as often as you can, even if it feels corny in the moment. Understand that we're not here to do anything but serve God and serve other people.
Yeah.
And your metric for success, which was the end of your question, what does success look like to me, is impact. I want to impact as many people as I can before I die. I want to leave a legacy, and not for me. For anyone who can learn something from me and go out and do the same thing for somebody else. Like my dad would always say, every time we hit a new follower milestone, he would say the same thing. 100K, 500K, 1 million. He would say, remember when you called me? And he was like, I was in the Florida Atlantic parking lot because he sold running tracks for colleges, 2 colleges. He said, remember when you called me and you said, Dad, I've got 100 followers. Can you believe 100 people care about what I have to say? He said, never forget that. And never forget that if you help one person, you are going to do more than most people will do in their entire lives. So that's my metric for success, bro. You ask me what success looks like for me. It looks like impact. It's not views. It's not virality. I'll make videos that flopped because I trust that message is on my heart for a reason and somebody needs to hear it. Sure enough, that video I thought flopped, someone will come up and be like, yo, this video changed my life. That's me trusting the message that God placed on my heart. That's it, bro. It's not about following. It never will give you what you're looking for. We don't want the thing. We want the thing, the feeling that the things gives us, right? I heard somebody say, you don't want a Ferrari. You want everybody to know that you have a Ferrari and that they can't have one. Yes. It's not the thing we want. It's the feeling that the thing gives us. And actually, paradoxically, the things don't give us the feelings that we want. Yes. It comes from chasing God and chasing more, chasing a better version of ourselves that can serve others better. That's where I find like actual fulfillment and peace. And I've, of course, fall short on it every day. But that awareness was very impactful for me.
Yeah, I think too, I kind of like, the first time I said it to my dad the other day, I was in South Carolina. We were walking like down the street at sunset, and I was kind of like getting vulnerable with him because kind of like seeing my dad when I put my tripod up when I had like no followers. It's kind of like, he's looking at me do the thing, and it's like I have a lot of respect for my dad. So when I'm not doing the thing, I'm doing the college thing, but it's like I'm also showing him I'm passionate about this other thing, and I'm putting the camera up, and he's like, what's going on? But it's also like it's just weird. It's a weird feeling. So I told him like, yeah, I've just always struggled with the mindset of proving myself. I think I want to hit all these milestones just to prove myself to others. and I just want to make it to this point so I can say I proved myself, and I'm never happy until I proved myself. But you never prove yourself. You're always looking to the next metric. So I'm not even looking for respect from my dad, which I envy. I love, whatever, not envy, but I put it on such a pedestal because I respect him so much. I think the thing I'm realizing is I'm not looking for respect from anybody but myself.
Yeah.
Self-respect is the biggest success that I could achieve.
Mm-hmm. And moments like that, you realize why idolatry is a sin in the Bible. It's not even about, I mean, yes, it is about honoring and loving the Lord, but the sin in the Bible is God's way of saying, like, if you do these things, they're going to destroy your life.
Yeah.
Like, lust is a sin because if you play every sin out to its end, gambling, pride, lust, envy, greed, it can destroy you. It can ruin your life. Idolatry, like what you were doing, earning my dad's respect, earning other people's respect, that's a form of idolatry, right? To make something an idol, to place it on a pedestal, like you mentioned, that is idolatry, literally. You know, sometimes I made my dad a bit too much of an idol, like my worldly father instead of my heavenly father. And if you can just pull that away, you realize you are already proven. You are already enough. And you're looking for approval in the world that crucified a perfect man. And that will always, always leave you hanging short, whether it's people idolizing relationships, which our generation does a lot, idolizing work, these things of the world, whether you are religious or not, they are of the world, which means they are not perfect, which means they are destined at some point to let you down.
John the Baptist, one of the most perfect men to ever live on this earth, is below us because he was born before Christ. After Christ's death, we were all saved. We're all perfect in his eyes, and that should be enough for everybody.
Correct. But they don't know it. It's not enough because they don't know it, because they don't read. That's why my pastor says, you don't know because you don't read. It's shaking his Bible.
To go back to the point, I've seen like videos, or not videos, like pictures you post of yourself, like your transformation picture, like when you were chubby. And I know, I forget what your friend's name that said it was, that Michael looks heavy.
Yeah. Actually, what he said was, damn, smoke is getting big.
And that was something that I also struggle with. I was kind of in the same position as you, like chubby. I hated like people looking at me because I felt so insecure.
For sure.
What did it look like leading up to that? Like if you could just like kind of paint that picture leading up to it, and then actually it hitting, and now it's enough. And how did you take action and just fix it? Just do what you needed to do.
So you're asking, when did the action potential shift into pain now greater than staying the same? Pain of change greater than...
It was him saying that.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was one of them.
That was the
thing that solidified it is that picture you've seen.
Yeah.
Like, fat people don't like taking pictures of themselves.
Yes.
I have to push my fitness clients to take photos of themselves in the mirror. Like, I don't want to. It's uncomfortable. That's the point.
Yes.
The point is to take it and then look at it.
That picture makes it real.
What?
That picture makes it real.
Correct. And we live in a society now that really demonizes shame. Yeah. It's like, oh, you should love yourself. You should be proud of yourself. Okay. Do you have anything to be worthy of being proud of? Yeah. And there's this fine line of being worthy and understanding that you are enough, but there's also actively making decisions that pull you away from the essence that God designed you to be. Yes. And not taking care of yourself is one of those things that can pull you away. It's why gluttony is a sin. If your physical body is clogged up, your spiritual body is going to be weaker. And so I took that photo, and the reason I use the same one every time is because it's the only one I have. Yeah. I was embarrassed. Yeah. Thank God I took it. As I looked at it, I was like, holy shit, I've got to do something about this. And so that was Luke saying that, paired with the photo and the shame that I felt about, I've struggled with this my whole life, and I knew it, and now other people are starting to notice. That's bad. Like, other people are noticing enough to say something. I am ashamed of that. And like I said, we live in this society that demonizes shame, but I believe shame is a great catalyst for change. It should not be the fuel that you use to endure, but it is a great spark to start. Be ashamed. Be pissed off. Be mad. Be so embarrassed of where you're at that you might actually do something about it. And then, through building new habits, through creating new evidence for your confidence, you start to do these things because you care about yourself, because you love yourself, not because you hate yourself. A little bit of self-loathing and a little bit of shame is a great way to get started. It should not be what keeps you going. So that's what did it for me, was like being a little bit ashamed of where I was.
Yeah. Self-correcting my list.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yes. It was like a new tongue placement. I read out loud to myself every day. I fixed it in a month. I had to live with that up until Senior year.
Pause.
What?
The new tongue placement.
The new tongue
Crazy. Sorry, keep going.
But I had to live with that.
Don't cut that.
My entire life up until senior year. And it took 1 month of just dialing in to change it.
No ascension without the tension, bro. You ascended to the next level because you sat in the tension of being embarrassed about how you sounded.
The self-awareness.
It took so
Yeah.
long. It's just you have to do the things that are in front of you. It's like you just have to look at what's painful in your life right now.
That's it. That's literally it. Me and Gabriel and Colin were doing a little workshop out before that dinner at Super Rica, and how Gabe says that the only thing, all fear is unacceptable except the fear of the Lord. And fear is what holds everybody back. He references this quote all the time, where your fear is, there your task is. That's what came up for me as soon as you said that. Basically, to anyone listening to this, whatever you're afraid of the most, and right now you're listening to this and something is coming up as I say that, what are you most afraid of? Go right into it, because that's probably exactly where you're supposed to be. That's the tension. And you did it.
Yes.
And look at where you are now.
And
You're
also,
on a microphone doing the thing you were once most afraid of.
Yes. And I don't even have the lisp anymore, and I talk to people every day on camera.
Correct.
Myself. And I literally didn't even bring that up in the other Write Your Story thing, because I hate talking about it. It's so hard to talk about it. And then after you say it, like just after I say it, it's like a weight got lifted off my shoulders. Yeah. Like if you're on the other end of your camera, like whatever's hurting you, like just scream it and then face it.
Correct.
Like it's exhilarating.
Yeah.
Like
you got to slay the dragons, man. That's part of what it means to be alive and be here, bro. Like everyone's on their own hero's journey.
Yes.
And the thing you fear the most is the thing we need to attack, because it is the catalyst to create the life that everybody says that they want. But not everybody can go after it.
You don't want to wake up one day and look back and be like, oh, I should have done that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I should have conquered that dragon. I'm working on conquering a dragon right now. You know? And I'll say it out loud. I really hate my job. I've told you this. And it's something I'm terrified of, dude. Because everyone, you know, growing up, for the most part, you're told that corporate America is the route. Whether it's that or, you know, healthcare, whatever. Healthcare is great. Let me just focus on corporate America. Corporate America, I think, can be positive for a lot of people. For some people, it's not, but you get taught that it's the key to having a successful life, to growing up in a nice suburb, to have a nice family with kids, to get a good wife. And, you know, you see this, and you see a lot of, you know, your parents' friends, like that's all you know growing up for a population of folks. And you get put into this situation. I get put in this situation out of college, right? And I think that's the only key to my success. And now I'm sitting there every day, and it's like, like I need to get outside. I need to move. I'm cornered. I'm so coddled up, and I can't be myself, and it's so frustrating in there. And you leave and you go back, and you leave and you go back, and it's like every day, like I need to get out of here. Now, I don't think it's smart to do that without a plan. I don't know if you had a plan prior to leaving your corporate job, but that's a dragon you slayed. That's a dragon I'm trying to slay, and that's the scariest thing in the world to me right now.
What is it?
Quitting my job is a dragon.
Is it the scariest thing?
Exhilarating. It's an exhilarating thing.
How does that feel to say, like just on camera? Because you never talked about that.
No, I haven't.
Definitely never made a piece of content.
What's the
about
energy
that.
right now? Does it feel good?
Yeah, it's exhilarating. Like you said, my adrenaline's pumping.
Awesome, bro.
I'm a big energy guy, as you both know. So I want to scream. It's been like I feel coddled right now. Like I need to flex or something, dude. Like
See,
do
this is the
push-ups
power.
right
I just
now.
wants to hit the folks in the office and they ain't letting him.
I will. No, but
That's
seriously.
it.
Yes.
You changed his energetic state just by being authentic. That's the power of this stuff. Like he just picked up on some of your feel, bro. Like this stuff is very real.
I literally feel tingling in my body.
And that's vulnerability too. Like I tell creators, the one superpower that will make you different is your ability to be authentic. It's authenticity. But the real superpower that people are scared to tap into is vulnerability. If you can be vulnerable, you can be really successful. Like we live in this industry. We all create content. We all have really large followings, and it's easy for people to think we have a perfect life. Like most people that follow me don't know that I was my dad's hospice caretaker for 8 months, and they can't imagine going through something like that, or maybe they have. But some people are like, well, I had no idea. Well, yeah, because you just see the highlight reel, or you form an opinion of me based on 90 seconds and say I'm an asshole or a bigot or an idiot. Like, no, it's just, you know a very small piece of me. So that's why I try to be vulnerable. The more vulnerable I am, and this is empowering because it's contagious. So you were just vulnerable at your biggest fear, and what did he do? He immediately turned around and did the same thing. Courage is contagious. It takes courage to do what you just did and what you just did.
Yeah.
We did an exercise in Austin where Nick took everybody through this exercise of spiritual debt. What's the thing you're carrying around right now that you don't even want to say? It's a conversation you haven't had. It's a thing you haven't admitted. It's a sin in the darkness, and that's where sin thrives. When you bring it to the light, and I use the term sin broadly, when you bring it to the light, it dies because it can't exist in the light. We had people getting up, calling their estranged family members, like having insanely powerful revelations, all because they had this thing just sitting on their heart. And that, like, not saying what you guys say out loud, that's a debt that you'll carry around if you don't voice it. And as soon as you voice that right now, something's going to happen. And so when you guys do this, and I think it's your responsibility to have, with the platform that you have, when you guys express vulnerability, you exude courage. And that empowers other people to do the same. We just saw it in real time. And so when you talk about this, it is actually the biggest superpower you could possibly have. And that's what I think a big contributor to my success is that I wear my heart on my sleeve in my videos. And it's not comfortable. But I think that's what God calls us to do, is to like lead with love. And my vulnerability is an act of love because I want people to do the same thing, because that's freedom on the other side of that expression. You probably feel lighter having just said
way
that.
lighter.
When I said that, like, I'm thinking back to it, something here just, like, lifted.
Came out of you.
If we had, like, one of those, because obviously you mentioned it too, you believe in it, like, you can genuinely measure somebody's frequency.
Correct.
It would have just been like
Yeah, y'all both
something
went. Well, I saw it in both of you. You perked up and moved. Like, you can see it
I
happen.
literally, like, jumped.
Yeah.
And it was like, Paul Ziegler said it in the last podcast we filmed, grieving your old self. And that's, like, part of what I just did. Like, I just want to go do anything right now.
Mm-hmm. And what do they say one of the best tools for grief is? Talking about the loved ones that passed.
Yes.
Talk about your old self.
About it.
If someone's going to see that clip of you saying you had a lisp, and it's going to empower them to do something, admit something.
Yes.
That's it, bro. I talk about my dad all the time. It's like one of the best tools I have for grief is not letting the memory die, but understanding where I came from.
Yeah.
People got to understand where you came from, and not that you're just Luke with 300,000 followers.
I can't believe I never talked about it, bro.
Honestly, I'm gonna challenge you and push you to post content about it, because what you're doing is the antithesis of the old you. You're literally living in your biggest fear and living a life beyond your wildest dreams as a result of being in the tension of your biggest fear.
Easy, bro.
I'd be silly not to bring up gooning, right?
Yeah.
A term I've been throwing around the internet for a while.
And everybody thinks it's a big joke.
No, it's not a joke. It's a funny word, sure.
I like the full framework that you put on.
Yeah,
It's not just
Broadly speaking, and what I've tried to frame the word as, it is the doom scrolling. It is the lustful actions. It is being someone that you don't want to be. It's any action that's putting that vote into the bucket that you don't want to be in.
Correct.
That's what gooning is. But where'd this come from originally, dude? Masturbation, pornography. I had a problem. I still suffer with that problem. Why else would I not be saying that? I'm voicing it out. Every time I say that, I'm like, dude, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. Yeah. Put the phone down. Get out of the room. Don't put yourself in a room by yourself, like where you have the opportunity to do something you don't want to do. For if you're struggling with masturbation, you got to eliminate any triggers that might get you in that mode. And that's what I had to do. And it started with saying that on the internet. The first time I said that, I was terrified. Yeah. So scary. But
empowered so many people, for sure.
Tried to, man. It is a funny word, which is hard to get by, but the broader meaning of it is, I think, powerful.
Yeah, man. I mean, lust is the only sin in the Bible that the Lord says to flee from. You can't fight that one. You got to get out of the fucking ring. You got to move. You got to run. And it's if we talk more about energetics, like masturbation, pornography, lust, they're very taboo, but they're things that everybody struggles with. Men, women. It's of our flesh. And it can destroy you. But if you can learn to control that and understand how it doesn't serve you, that energy actually is incredibly powerful. And you can just redirect it. Like when I'm not focused on that, when I'm not gooning, which I haven't in quite some time, I feel more creative. I feel more inspired. I have more drive. And there's actually physiological evidence to support this. So, fun fact, I'm going to use some funny words here. When men ejaculate for 12 to 24 hours, their prolactin skyrockets and their testosterone falls. That's how we make more semen. Prolactin has to elevate. Testosterone has to fall. Testosterone, when elevated in men's bloodstreams and bodies, is the the hormone associated with drive. Like high test people have higher drive. Higher testosterone women tend to be, they've done studies on this, they tend to have higher levels of testosterone compared to the average women when they're women like high up in the workplace or high-performing women. Testosterone is the hormone of drive. And so if you're gooning every day and constantly elevating your prolactin, another hormone that is associated with lethargy and exhaustion, and you're constantly suppressing your test every day, your drive is going to be lower. Your sense of purpose is going to be lower. Your ability to figure out your purpose and drive is going to be lower. So not only is it a spiritual battle, but there is actual physiological evidence to support that it probably serves you best to stop putting yourself in those situations.
Yeah, since we're sharing stuff, it's gonna come out a little weird, but from September, like when I started really dialing in my content, to 1 year after that, did 1 entire year of celibacy in every realm, and that's when I built everything that I pretty much have, all the momentum, in the deepest I've ever been in my relationship with God, which brought me pretty much everything I have today that's worth real meaning and fulfillment to me.
Not an accident, not a coincidence.
No, that's powerful. That's really powerful. Like the energy, the frequency that goes into it, all the science behind it, very powerful. So stop gooning.
Stop gooning.
Stop gooning.
And I'm going to ask you a question there. And this goes back to what you said earlier, Michael. Did you set out I'm not going to do anything for a year, or was it day at a time, I'm going to not do this because I know it's going to take me away from my overarching goal?
Where focus goes, energy flows. And I was totally focused on my goals and kind of like the light, the purpose that I was looking up to. God, inspiring people, fitness, wellness. I was totally focused on that. My old life of just those simple fleeting pleasures, I had no energy, no focus over there. I was totally focused on this. All my energy was going over this. I could, like, maybe there was like subtle temptations, but all my focus was here, and therefore all my energy went over there. So it's like this really had no power. Again, like what Paul was talking about on the last podcast, you got the devil on your left shoulder, God on your right, whichever shoulder it is. The more you listen to God, the smaller and smaller the devil gets, and the more you hear this voice. So I think the more you focus on the right things, the smaller and smaller the bad things get. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I was so focused on all the right things.
Yeah, in a day-to-day fashion. What do I need to do today to get better?
It wasn't even a thought like, oh no, I need a... I'm just focused on this. I don't need to stop doing it. I'm just focused. I don't want to.
You brought up, I saw what you were driving home there with that question of what do I need to do for the next year to not goon, to be a bum, or what do I need to do today to do that thing? Like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, says one day at a time. One day at a time. Like there have been times in the last couple months where I wanted to make a wrong decision. I wanted to do something I knew I swore I wouldn't do, and I just like changed my state. It's like, this is that one day at a time thing. Just get through this moment and we'll start over again tomorrow. And I'm proud of myself for not succumbing or giving into that temptation. So it is important. This goes back to building systems. Like build systems on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, build the floors that support the goal 1 year from now. So that if you do this system every day, the 1 year goal is a side effect. Yeah. It's just a natural byproduct.
Yeah. And a big thing too is write down your why. Mm-hmm. Everybody who says like, I want to start creating content, consistency is the one thing, but also your why. Because that's going to carry you on the days you don't feel motivated, whatever it is. When you just focus on your why, your energy is going to flow there. Your calling is just going to pull you literally just out of your seat into whatever you want to go and attack. So if you just can establish that why and always remind yourself of it when your old life comes knocking back on the door.
And it will, the closer you get to your new life.
Every time. And even when you break into that new life, your old life is still always there. You gotta like grieve your old self, like we just did, talking about it and saying like, I have overcome that. I am a new person. Self-talk. But really focusing and establishing a clear why. Massive for me. I think that's the biggest piece of advice I could give anybody on anything they want to do. Why?
And write it down. Yeah, Tony Robbins makes us write. I'm referencing Tony a lot because I just went to Date with Destiny, his event in West Palm Beach. It was dope. And one thing he's big on is writing things down. And one of the things he makes you write is, what is your mission statement for life? Yeah. Like write it down with the framework. I think it was insert name, see, hear, feel, and know that my mission or my purpose in life is to blank and to blank and to blank for myself and others. I think I wrote, I, Michael Smoke, see, hear, feel, and know that my mission or my purpose in this life is to be of complete service to others, to be as present as I possibly can in every moment, and to do one piece of good for myself and for the world every day.
Was that scary or hard to write down? Or could you notice?
It took some time.
people
Yeah.
are kind of thrown off.
Yeah,
When
and
you said that, I kind of thought about my answer. And I'm like, oh crap.
it's a heavy question.
Heavy question.
Because most people don't call, again, what we keep coming back to, this level of awareness to their life. Like writing things down, he also has you write down towards and away values. What are the things you want to be pulled towards, not pushed towards? And then what are the things you want to be pushed away from?
Yeah.
And you have to write it out. Like I want to be pulled towards passion, integrity, love, honesty. I want to be pulled away from insecurity, shame, guilt, doubt, fear. And so now when I'm in situations, I go, is this pulling me towards passion? Let me go that way.
Yeah.
Is this pulling me towards honesty and integrity? Let me go that way. Is this pulling me towards shame? Peace. Is this pulling me towards insecurity or self-doubt? That doesn't serve the life, my mission purpose that I set out to do.
So powerful.
But you have to write this stuff down. Like I'm convicted on that. I have a poster board with all this shit on it.
Yeah. You said convicted. I feel like I was convicted to watch that whole post. It was like a minute 40
It was
seconds.
a long post
and
for a
my
reel.
attention span was telling me, like, I think I scrolled halfway and I was like, I don't want to lose the spot.
Gotta go
and
back
I watched
and-
the entire thing. But it was like everything, like my attention span was telling me to go, but everything else was telling me to stay. Like I did feel convicted by that because it is so powerful. That's like how you go through life.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're at 9 already, but
yeah.
before we get out of here, Michael, I think question for me, Luke, audience, dude, what's next for Michael Smoke? What are these goals you have set? What are your floors now to get you to that goal you have set 1, 5, 10 years, if you even have those? What can we see from Michael Smoke going forward?
Okay, I've got to voice them now. I got to walk the walk. One of the things Tony has us write down is 4 1-year goals. I think I only have 2 or 3. I didn't get done with the exercise. The poster board's 80% done. But I just came off my speaking tour, talking to entrepreneurs and creators, and it was great. We sold out every show, but it was small seminar, but it was small, 100 to 200 people each time. So one of my 4 1-year goals is to speak on stage in front of 5,000 people. The next goal is to get on one of the 3 biggest podcasts in the world, which is Joe Rogan, Modern Wisdom, or Diary of a CEO. And just a quick call out. I hope he doesn't see this so he doesn't think that I'm preconceiving any notions. Powerful things happen when you get clear and write out your I ams and your goals. Like the energy, the universe begins to shift when you get very clear on what your intentions are. I wrote down I wanted to get on one of those biggest podcasts. One of them was Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson. Literally 2 hours later, Chris followed me on Instagram and DM'd me. Just said, I love what you do, man. But call it a coincidence. I won't. So that was 2 of them. All right, I'll say it. Goal 3 was meet the love of my life. Don't look at me like that. Goal 3 is meet the love of my life, and I don't have the 4th goal written out yet. I have to finish the poster board. So that's what's on the cusp. But what in terms of what we're going to do now, what I'm going to do now to get there, continue building the podcast. It's at a point where we have an incredible audience. We're doing 200,000 downloads a month.
Shout it out.
The Higher Up podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. I talk about the stuff we talked about today in longer form and more detail, and try to share as much free information as I can with the world to help just one person. Building the podcast, developing the podcast, continuing to do speaking engagements all around the country, potentially doing my first keynote at a Christian conference next September. So that's the life I want to step into. I want to impact, like I said, as many people as I can while I'm here. And I think that's going to happen from being on stage and podcasting and just trying to help just one person every single day. So that's what's next for me, boys.
All right, and last question. Keep it super quick. I think this is super powerful, even more powerful when you keep it quick.
Sure.
Kind of full circle journey moment. If you could tell yourself back when you took that picture, that transformation picture, maybe 30 seconds of advice from you now, what would it be? Somebody in the same position.
Count it all joy when you face trials of many kinds, because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance run its course so that you may be complete and lacking nothing. I went through a long time feeling lonely, confused, in between friend groups, shameful, obsessed with a thing that wasn't really serving me in any capacity, and it made no sense. And now I use everything that I've put thousands of hours of my life into learning over the last 9 years, I just put into purpose 2 years ago. And I see it so clearly now. It's all for a reason. So if I could go back and tell him anything, I'd give him a big hug, tell him he's enough, and say that everything you're about to go through is for a really big purpose beyond your wildest dreams. It's going to give you a gift and a life beyond your wildest dreams, and you're going to use it to help a lot of people. And you're going to be very, very happy and feel very, very blessed.
So powerful. So well said. Michael, thank you so much for being on here. Michael Smoke, Higher Up Wellness.
Love you, boys.
That was super powerful. A lot of value there, and I really
you.
appreciate you sharing and your vulnerability and authenticity there. So
Thank you, brother.
Michael, yeah, thanks for sharing your story. And I hope this will inspire someone else to write their story. Thank you guys for tuning in to Write Your Story with Jack Nassif, Luke Keegan, and Michael Smoke.
Thanks for having me, boys. I'm honored.
My pleasure.